on the Live Well, Live Strong quilt. We are on the Strength quilt block. So I'm so excited to share this with you. The Live Well, Live Strong quilt, you can purchase at Stitches Quilting. This is what the quilt looks like as foundation paper piecing. This is what the quilt looks like 60 by 60 inches. And this is the quilt in the negative space version and the runner too. So you've got one pattern with lots of different versions, and we are so excited to have you guys here. Let me know where you're from. I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I'm super excited about today. So we are working on the Strength quilt block, and we did another video earlier this week on Wednesday. And let's go ahead and kind of review a little bit of what we've done. Hi, Jane! It's so good to see you. So you have your pattern. You have the pattern for the Live Well, Live Strong quilt. For the foundation paper piecing version, you just download the PDF that's in there after you purchase your quilt. And you print this off onto newsprint paper. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Liz. I'm early because I get my vaccination shot today at 11:30. So I need to do my live video earlier so that then I can be on time to get my vaccination, right? So anyways, Utah has lowered the age down to 50 and above. So I was just super excited about that. Now, we printed off our pattern, and it's on newsprint paper. These are the sheets of paper that you use to put together the pieces of your quilt block, okay? And as we've talked before, I used my pencil, and I kind of put a capital letter helping me for to know which color fabric I'm going to be putting where, okay? So that's how I've constructed these. This is your picture that helps you know how to lay out the Strength quilt block and to sew it completely together. So anyways, welcome you guys. We've got Silver Spring, Maryland. We've got Canada. We've got South Wales. We've got, oh, Liz says she will finally get one for her husband next week. Good, you guys. I'm so excited. I have found that by scheduling the vaccine online is the best way that I've done it for Corey's parents, for my stepfather and his wife, and then for Corey and I. So I have found that doing it online is the way that works the best for us. I don't know though. But let me go ahead and flip the camera so you guys can see what my sewing surface looks like. So, and I'll show you what I'm going to wear to the vaccine today at the end of today's appointment. Okay, so here is our layout right here of how to lay out the Strength quilt block. So I'm going to set this so that you guys can actually see it. I think I'll put it just right here. Let me, I think you guys can see that from there. Maybe I'll set it right here and put my needle down on it. Okay, so here we are. That's not a very good shot, but this is our center block. Remember, we made 4 of this kind of block right here, and it's really a 4 patch with 2 half square triangles. And we made 4 of these, and these are kind of like the star part of the Strength quilt block. So let's go ahead and lay this out so you guys can see how to arrange your quilt blocks. So on the Strength quilt block, you've got this really dark navy blue in each of the 4 corners. So let's go ahead and set this down. So you can see dark navy blue. I need to probably take a lit roller on my design board. I do that all the time, but I keep getting more threads. I'm just a thready person. You should see my lap. Okay, so I've got these 4 squares in the 4 corners, and this is our center quilt block. All right, now we're going to lay out this section right here, and this is just kind of like the V point of the Strength quilt block. So this is how we are doing this. We've got this, and I always think about this lighter blue color as being the sky in a way. I don't know. So this gives us the look that we need right here. So really all the Strength quilt block is 1 in the center, and then these 4 corners, and then these 4 V's coming out from the center. Okay, so let's go ahead and set these aside because I've already put this together, and this is our 1 strength and these 4 pieces. All right, so what I have done is I have sewn this much of the Strength quilt block together, and remember we've got our 4 corners of our corner blocks right here. Hey Victor, how are you? It's good to see you. Liz, yes, Quebec, you're right, Quebec. All right, Okay, here are the 4 corners right here. All right. So now what I'm going to do is, you can see my points are matching up extremely well. So we've got this point right here. I mean, that's a really good match. That's one really neat thing about foundation paper piecing, is that all of these points are matching, because you've really got precision. What's interesting is every single one of these blocks right here are the exact same size. So, but when you're foundation paper piecing, it really becomes precise as you cut on that solid line. And I always cut so I can hopefully see a hair of the solid line there, because then I know what my 1/4 inch seam actually looks like. One thing I want to note is that this is the same size as this, but this really looks a little bit more elongated. It's like an elliptical illusion, right? So when you're working on your large size strength quilt blocks, you got to make sure all of these are the same size. When you're doing the foundation paper piecing, they will be the right size. Okay, now let's go ahead. I'm going to take away this guide. So this you just use as a guide for your layout. And remember, you used all these papers to help you sew together that block. All right, now we are going to put right sides together here. And because I've cut everything very accurately using rather a small ruler, I enjoy using a small ruler. It's lighter to lift. I might use my larger rotary blade or my smaller rotary blade. Either one works, okay? Anyway, so, and then here we are. We want to make sure we're matching these points. But as you match them up, because we really want that to actually, you can see how this line is coming across and it looks like a solid line, all right? So we want that look in our block, whether we're making the full size block or not. Once again, I use these really small, fine sewing pins. They're typically used for, sewing with silk fabrics or really fine fabrics, okay? And I put them on the back of my magnetic pin holder. So I've got my regular pins there and my small pins right there, which is silly, I know, but it's just what I do and it works for me. I'd actually like to have another little pin cushion, but I haven't done it. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and sew at that 1/4 inch seam. This was my solid line. I've made on the pattern a dashed line for you. So let's go ahead and bring this through. So remember, we are wanting to do the strength quilt block. And we are living proof of strength this last year and resilience as we've gone through this pandemic, right? And we have built different aspects of strength and resilience in our lives. And we want to continue to do that. And actually making this quilt, so you can see how that matches, and we've got a nice good flow right here. Let's go ahead and press this real fast. So I'm going to just go ahead and press this open so it looks really nice, and I'm going to press on the top, but I'm also going to press on the back. All right, and I opened up some of my seam allowances here, and let's go ahead and bring this one down. So you can do whatever you want. You could open your seam allowances or leave them flopped over so that you have that effect too. Either way works just fine. Now let's go ahead and sew this section right on here. And what I want to focus on is you want to make sure these points are matching right here. You've got 2 V points coming together. So I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how I do that. So, and I've gone ahead, we're going to line this up so that we know that this is matching. Okay, I'm holding this up right to the camera, or trying to. So we want to get those points right there matched. So I'm going to take my small fine pin and I'm going to stick it right in the intersection in a horizontal manner. I'm not going to do it at an angle, but I'm going to stick that right inside there. Okay, so it's coming out right at that point. I'm then going to match what that looks like on this other V point right here, okay? Because we really want these 2 seams to match up. Okay, now I have matched those, and I'm just going to let that pin kind of sit in there. It's a small pin, I know, but you can see, and I'm just letting it go horizontally through the fabric. I am now going to secure what I have going there without shifting this up or down. So I'm going to go ahead and put a pin to each side, and I'm going to put another pin over here on this side. Here we go. And then I'm going to, now, I'm actually going to prefer to nest these seams together. So I'm going to just go ahead and nest them because I know I'm going to be getting a match if I'm nesting them, and I can feel that. I like using the newsprint paper as my foundation paper piecing because it isn't as slick as regular copy paper, and you can feel that matching up better, and it's not as slippery as you're working with it. You have a little bit of texture here. Once again, these seams right here, we do want these to match too, but they are going to match as long as you've cut everything accurately. So you just want to make sure you've got a good cut on those 1/4 inch seams and on those solid lines. Okay, let's bring this through. I love this quilt. It's just such a great quilt to actually build skills and to come along. Oop, I need to take out that little horizontal pin I had there. Okay, so here we're going to do a test. Let's see if it is matching up. Let's see if we're going to match up our seams here. Oh, I want to nest that seam right there. Let's bring that over. Okay, it's a test. It's a live test to see if it works, right? And you're going to have parts where you're going through thicker amounts of fabric, and just slow down at that point in time so that you know that you're kind of going smoothly over that. Don't go too fast as you're kind of putting all of these together because you've got lots of thick seams and you have the paper and the thread in there too. Okay, so we've got this done right there. Okay, I'm going to take out my pins and let's see if the seams are matched. So remember, there are different strength sources and each one of us are different. Tap into those strength sources. Okay, that looks like a good match. Let's press it though to go ahead and see how good this is. I find with the paper, after I do a press, I can feel it just looks so much better. Pressing anything with quilting makes everything just really nice, and then you can really clearly see your work. So I always keep this pressing mat right next to my sewing machine so I can always press as I go along. Okay, let's go ahead and press over on this side. Once again, let me take away my design board. Once again, when I am working on a quilt block like this and it's foundation paper pieced, I will go ahead and press the top. This looks really sharp, you guys. I will press the back here, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a ruler on it. And then typically, I go ahead and I put something heavy on top of that. So let's go ahead and take my little tumbler drink, and I will let this sit. Hi, Mary. It's so good to see you. I just love seeing every one of you guys. So please say hello and let me know that you're here. So you can see I go ahead and do that. This is my little Yeti jar of Stitches quilting that Corey made for me. Had that sandblasted. So let's set this aside. Let's go ahead and take a look at our strength quilt block. And I'm going to move the camera back to the front camera. So very good. So you can see how beautiful that is. It really has like a braided look of strength coming through there. And remember, strength comes from braiding together so many different threads that you can't, hopefully you cannot break those threads. And I have some worksheets for you guys about strength, and it's available at the Stitches Quilting website. Hi, April. Yes, you know what, April, it is really hard to match all of the points. I thank you for bringing that topic up. If you are working with the large size of the quilt blocks, okay, you want to make sure every single one of these are 10.5 inches square. So you really need to square up because you're putting together like a 9 patch, but you have so many points to match. So make sure before you do the large scale strength block, April, thanks for making that point. Make sure everything is at that 10.5 inch mark. If something is not 10.5 inches, you want to block that square so it's a little bit larger or a little smaller, whatever you need to do, and fix that. And then, or be aware that you've got a narrow seam someplace that then you need to compensate for. So, because we always make little stitching mistakes, but in the instructions in the original quilt pattern, it does tell you to square up each unit so that you're for sure putting together something cohesively that will be nice and flat for you. So please use that tip, because it can get frustrating matching all these points up. This is the last quilt block of the Live Well, Live Strong quilt skill building journey. And so there are lots and lots of points. So you can see there's a point here, a point here, a point here, and here. You know, there's so many different points to be matching up, and that really does take some skill there. But you have to work with square blocks in the beginning. So now back to strength topics. Remember, I have here a whole list of different strength sources that might really resonate with you. So for example, my faith obviously is one, my grandchildren is one, creativity is one, my hobbies is one, exercising is one, but there's so many different things on here. And I want you to circle the things that bring strength into your life. And when you're not feeling as strong or as resilient, to go ahead and then tap into these sources or hone in to different sources. But you want a multitude of different strength sources. So it's like a braided rope, a braided thing that can stay strong when we really need that resilience. And also, don't forget to always ask for help. Hi, Catherine from Louisiana. It's good to see you. So, I'm so glad to see you guys. I will be back next week at noon on Monday, Mountain Standard Time, and we're going to start putting together the blocks for the standard size Live Well, Live Strong quilt. And we will also be putting together the blocks for the foundation paper piecing quilt and put together those quilt tops. So please stay tuned in all those videos. Once again, I'm going to have lots of tips and tricks of matching those seams from quilt block to quilt block, but we do have to start with squared quilt blocks the best that we can. So make sure that you're squaring up your quilt blocks as you go along, but keeping in mind that you need these 1/4 inch seams to stay intact. So there is a new updated pattern, so if you haven't downloaded that, please do. You guys have a great day. I am gonna leave for my, wait a minute, where's my little top? Oh my gosh, I've got to change my clothes because I want a short sleeve top to go get my vaccination. And it's a really cute little yellow velvet top. My gosh, I've got to change my clothes. Okay, so it's a really cute velvet top. I'll do some little stories on Facebook and Instagram so you guys can see what I'm wearing, and I'm wearing like a sweater over it, but it's a little short sleeve shirt so they can get to my arm to poke me. But I'm grateful for all the blessings that we have. So, and I'm grateful for all of you. Thank you guys so much. It's so good to see you. I'm going to go be on time and early to my vaccine, and I'm doing it with Corey, so we're going to have a good time. So you'll be able to see Corey and I doing vaccines in my live stories. Have fun.